Small versus large. By the way, that's a Great Dane. My wife has Great Danes. It's like living with cows, okay? They're nice, but they are big. The small versus large is also, I would say, a fundamental change in the physics of our world. One is point solutions come first. When you ask the technologists to come involved, our concern is not just solving the problem, it's also looking at how's it going to integrate to this, and how are we going to feed to that, and how we're going to do this. We're already 7 steps ahead. Watch the way end users solve a problem. It's like, well, fix my problem here. Yeah, I hear you. We'll deal with that then. I want the immediate benefit now, and the integration stuff we'll worry about then. Okay? Again, they can get away with it, but it dramatically changes the perception of benefit-cost structures they're doing. And if you try to bring in then, now, all of a sudden you're a bureaucrat trying to slow down their projects. The second thing is the minimum footprint. I was going to put up a snapshot of what the Salesforce.com website looks like, but you can literally go on, and it's got, for $5 a seat month, and that is the minimum price, $5 per seat per month. That's the left column, all the way up to the $225 on the right. And a friend of mine told me, who was a photographer in Minnesota one time, told me he has 3 wedding packages. He has a $900 wedding package, he has a $2,500 wedding package, and he has a $10,000 wedding package. And I said, well, no one in Minnesota is going to pay $10,000 for a wedding package. And he said, right, but they feel really good about buying the $2,500 package. Okay? And that's how they market. That's how they market this. And if you're an end user and your IT department comes in and says, well, $200,000, $300,000, 6 months, and I'm looking at this $5 or $20, and I have to take it exactly the way they give it, seems like a pretty good deal to me. And by the way, I've sold myself on the minimum footprint. And what IT says, well, crap, if you let me do like 3 things for you, I could do it that fast too, but you don't even get the question. And then finally, they've gotten masterful at, instead of trying to solve the whole problem at once, you do the $25 solution. Then you add on the integration thing for $10. Then you add on and this incremental approach is a more natural human way of doing something than the massive top-down project-oriented things. And by the way, someone else pointed out with these projects that fail half the time, I think if you look at ERP kind of implementations, you're talking about failure rates in the 20 to 40%. It depends on which statistic. Here, at least, you may fail on the integration, but you got the first value. And then finally, of course, this is the real killer, and this is why these SaaS models are all designed to kill. I call it the pay-go problem. It's low upfront costs. In other words, you can skip talking to the CFO. You can skip talking to the CIO. You probably don't even have to go up to the divisional head. You probably put it on a Visa card. I know it wasn't until I actually had people run American Express charges at Fidelity, we use American Express, to find out where Salesforce.com was installed. Okay? I mean, it's a real eye-opening when you see that because they completely skipped this budgeting process because it's a burn. The second thing is it's immediately synced. There is no time value problem here of money now, benefit later. It's all synced up so they don't have to rationalize. And I would argue probably the biggest thing is it's completely different budgets. It completely goes through their operating budgets on small numbers and doesn't go through technology budgets which have a lot of governance around them. So it's a process of water seeking its level. This pay-go thing is a huge, huge thing. And of course, that's how they're all designed. Now, in addition to the 3 that I just mentioned, which was sort of the focus, the pay-go, I'm going to add 2 other things which you cannot underestimate. And this is why I think it's a longbow kind of event. First of all, because they thought of it and it's completely business-led and IT may find out about it at some point, You have essentially that ownership. Now, how many of you have tried to get big technology projects with business ownership and business leads, and usually you find some poor sucker who gets pushed onto the stage who's there but is not with the business leader you want. That's not how this is done. This is done from them, and so you get a huge business leadership. So I think I call that change of ownership. But I'd also argue there's something else here that's going on that's hard to fight, which is business leaders like to be romanced, right? They like to be sold. They appreciate essentially professional sales and marketing. They like being on advisory councils. They like all of that. And it turns out when IT shows up with a pencil protector and says, give us the money, that's about as romantic as we get, okay? Versus a Salesforce.com salesman or an SAP on-demand salespeople, trust me, those are romances, okay? I would argue from hell, but that's my perspective, okay? And if they get a hold of your business leaders, you have a completely different phenomenon, and they like it. And the only way for an IT company to essentially do this is if you had marketing and salespeople inside your IT organization, which is never going to happen, right? So I think all of this is a huge push to this change.